What's up, everyone? It's Jake with Psyched Insights, and today we will be looking at ATAI Life Sciences first quarter 2023 financial results and some pipeline highlights and other updates. Let's get to it. So with RL-007 in the first quarter of 2023, the first patient was dosed in the phase 2b study, looking at cognitive impairment associated with schizophrenia, CIAS. So something to know about cognitive impairment associated with schizophrenia is that there is currently no available treatment options for this specific indication. It's very cool to see that ATAI is entering into a late stage trial with this drug, and also they have a lot of prior evidence with this drug in other trials that they were able to look at before they took a stake in Recognify Life Sciences. I believe they did up to 10 phase 1 studies, and maybe I think with those studies they did 2 efficacy studies looking at other indications outside of CIAS, but they did look at its pro-cognitive effects, and at lower doses it showed that it was effective with helping with cognition. So it's something to look at. But also something, analysts that I've seen have given this drug a 10 to 15% probability of success. That's pretty low. It's definitely one of their moonshot plays, I think. But if it works, it's going to pay off big time for investors and for patients suffering with CIAS. So let's go on. The phase 2b study is randomized, placebo-controlled, double-blind study of 6-week duration evaluating 20 milligrams, 40 milligrams of RL-007 versus placebo. The primary endpoint of the study is the change from baseline in the Matrix Consensus Cognitive Battery, MCCB Neurocognitive Composite Score, a well-established regulatory endpoint. Top-line results from the study are expected in the second half of 2024. So everyone investing in biotech, if you're in it for the long run and not for a trade, it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of patience to wait for this proof of concept study to come out. But I am looking forward to seeing the results of this trial. And again, if it works, it will be big for ATAI. And something you notice when looking at this earnings report is they put a lot of focus on their non-psychedelic compounds. ATAI is more than just psychedelics. They're a mental health company, a mental health platform company. And I think, to be honest, it's just my thoughts that a lot of people in the retail investment community may not even be aware that they're working with other drugs besides psychedelics. I mean, their 2 lead candidates right now aren't even psychedelic compounds. So in a way, it also offers a lot of diversity in their portfolio. So let's move on to GRX-917, deuterated etifoxine for anxiety disorders. So something about etifoxine, guys. Etifoxine itself is used as an anxiolytic in France and other countries in Europe. It's been used for, I think, maybe 10 to 20 years, maybe even more. ATAI has studies that they've looked at comparing etifoxine to other benzos, and it looks to be just as effective without not dissociative, without sedative effects seen with other benzos. So it's, again, with ATAI, their motto is prior evidence in humans. You certainly have that with etifoxine, considering it's an anxiolytic already used in France and other countries in Europe. So let's get into it. In January 2023, phase 1 results were announced from the study of GRX-917 in healthy volunteers. It was well tolerated with no dose-limiting toxicities and sedation comparable to placebo. There you go. It had an improved pharmacokinetic profile relative to non-deuterated etifoxine and demonstrated pharmacodynamic evidence of GABA receptor target engagement. So it looks like it's doing what they want it to do, the drug, when they've done EEG scans, and that's certainly a good sign. Um, it's again, ATAI is not looking at etifoxine. They're looking at deuterated etifoxine, because if they were just looking at etifoxine, there's no patent protection they could get on etifoxine. So they're deuterating it. And with deuteration, they'll be able to have less frequent dosing. The goal will be less frequent dosing of the drug. It will have a longer half-life. Let's see. So yeah, this is they're planning on bringing it into a large phase 2 proof of concept study, and they don't announce exactly when they're gonna move it into phase 2, or when we can expect some results, but certainly good progress in my eyes on deuterated etifoxine. Now, guys, also to mention, I should have mentioned in the beginning, I do hold a position in ATAI Life Sciences. It is my largest holding, and but I'm gonna be honest, I if you've been following ATAI, it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows, that's for sure. And I've been particularly frustrated with the time it's been taking them to get ibogaine into a proof of concept study. You look back at their old earnings reports; they are a full year behind where they expected to be with their ibogaine program. There's no going around that. It's the facts. And I'm very frustrated with that. And to add to the frustration, with VLS-01 and then dimethyltryptamine, DMT for TRD. It's they're partnered with Intel Genex to deliver the drug on an OTF, on a transmucosal film OTF formulation. Um, in their April investor deck, it said they would have phase 2A proof of concept data first half of 2024. I can pretty confidently say that that's not going to happen anymore. They for reasons we'll read here, they are adding a part 3 to the phase 1, to the phase 1 trial. I don't think this could be a good sign. I don't. I think they must have ran into some problems to where they have to add another third part to a phase 1 trial. Again, with DMT, with their psychedelic programs, guys, they're quite behind a lot of the competition, to be honest. In the same time that it's taken ATAI to get through this phase 1, they're not even done. Beckley SciTech is in phase 2B with 5-MeO DMT in the same 2-year time period. With VLS-01, they're taking quite some time. There's no way around it. I think it's promising. Perhaps with their digital therapeutics app, it could be a reason why it's taking a bit longer than they had anticipated, but enough of my opinions here. Let's look at the updates. The company recently completed part 1 and part 2 of an ongoing phase 1 open label single ascending dose study of VLS-01 in healthy adult participants. The phase 1 study is designed to evaluate the safety, tolerability, PK, and PD of VLS-01 delivered by intravenous infusion and our proprietary oral transmucosal film OTF formulation. So they said it was well tolerated, no dose limiting toxicity, and a favorable safety profile. Sounds good to me. VLS-01 IV was consistent with the known pharmacological profile of DMT, producing robust exposure-dependent increase in the subjective intensity of psychedelic experience. I don't want to bore you guys, read through the whole thing, but at the end of the day, I don't think they got exactly what they were looking for from part 1 and part 2 of the phase 1. So they will be adding a part 3. Now let's look at Compass Pathways. For those who don't know, ATAI holds a little bit of more than a 20% stake in Compass Pathways. So one of the reasons I like ATAI a lot as an investor is the diversity. It's almost in a sense a psychedelic slash mental health ETF. You know, they have psilocybin with Compass, DMT, MDMA, which they didn't even mention here. I was upset that they didn't mention that. Um, Ibogaine and their other non-psychedelic compounds. And I may add, they have entheogenics, which is a joint venture with Cyclica, where they are looking at new chemical entities that hit the 5-HT2A receptor for a whole range of indications. They're looking at both non-hallucinogenic and hallucinogenic. So I'm excited in the next hopefully year at least to see updates on those programs. But let's get into Compass. Compass Pathways announced an acceleration of the pivotal trial 1 Comp 005, part of the phase 3 program in TRD, with top line data from pivotal trial 1 now expected in the summer of 2024. That's good news. The ongoing phase 3 program is composed of 2 pivotal trials, each of which will have long-term follow-up component. The primary endpoint in both pivotal trials is the change from baseline MADRS score, total score at week 6. Also, they didn't mention here, but the pivotal trial 2, I believe it's called, is looking at 2 doses of psilocybin-assisted therapy. This is another interesting thing to talk about. I've noticed Compass Pathways say psychedelic assisted psychotherapy to psilocybin with psychological support. It's a very subtle change in their wording, and I've actually heard other people bring this up. You know, we're still learning about how important the therapy is to psychedelics for mental health disorders, and it should be really interesting to see. Maybe it's not as important as we thought. I think that's a possibility. My belief is that if you are someone suffering from a mental health disorder, it's probably best to in the future do these drugs with a licensed mental health professional in a clinic where there's a psychiatrist at the clinic who, God forbid, there's an adverse reaction, that you have a medical team there to work through things. You know, taking psychedelics when you're a healthy individual, not looking at a mental health disorder, is much different than someone who is dealing with psychological issues. I don't hear this talked about enough, and I'm just mentioning it here. People should know that it's a lot different. If you have some issues going around with mental health, you're more likely to have a challenging psychedelic experience. But this is not to say that that could always be a bad thing. A lot of times people learn a lot from a challenging psychedelic experience, and it could actually help them in the long run. They're confronting things that they've been putting in the back of their mind and their subconscious for a long time, and it finally comes to light with psychedelics, with psilocybin here with Comp 360. So back to the earnings report, it seems like Compass Pathways is making some good progress. I know they are a little low on cash right now, but I think there's some catalysts in the broader sector with potential MDMA approval, gaining more investor interest. You know, perhaps off of the phase 3 trial results, if they're really good, they could raise more capital off of those results. That would be really good. And, you know, so with this report, you don't get any mention of MDMA, no mention of Demerex. As an investor, it's a little bit frustrating to still not see that they're updating Demerex. It has been a long time, guys, and go back yourself to the earnings reports from 2021, 2022. They had expected this phase 1 to be over with much sooner. So let's take a brief look at their cash position. Looks like they have net cash, I believe net cash of $249.9 million. And it looks like along with the term loan funding, this will be sufficient to fund operations into the first half of 2026. So that's very good for ATAI. That's very significant, a lot of cash. Again, I mentioned this a couple times in the two previous videos I've done with Adam, that to have a lot of time to put out proof of concept data is really, really, really important in biotech investing. A lot of the times, biotech companies, after they release good data, they use that opportunity to raise more capital. And guys, ATAI, just like these other companies, will have to raise a lot more capital. It's how it is right now. They're just burning through cash. And that's what biotech companies do before they get a drug to market. So it takes a lot of patience, and these are risky investment, guys, risky investments. But if they, in drug development, if these pay off, these will be, investors will be happy if it pays off. And at the downside, it could go to zero. It could go to zero. There's nothing in the world that's these companies, the stock market doesn't care about your feelings. If these drugs don't work, the company, you're going to lose money. You're going to lose money. This is something I've learned the hard way, investing in biotech, but it's actually taught me some really, really important lessons. And especially in the psychedelic sector, it's a little bit different than traditional biotech investing. There's a lot of hype with psychedelics. It's not, the stock price isn't always driven by any real news. For example, with Bright Minds Bioscience, the thing pumped. I was holding it. It pumped to 400% in a single day. I was like, okay, like there must be something going on here. I checked online, no news. And the second the company released a news report saying that there's no reason why, or there's no material news that should have caused this, I sold. I'm taking the 400% gain, guys. I wasn't going to make the same mistake twice with MindMed. MindMed, it pumped for no good reason. It was all hype at one point. And I'm saying to myself at the time, oh, I'm a long-term investor. I'm not going to sell now. I'm long-term. But guys, if it's pumping for no reason, you got to take profits. This, in my opinion, again, not financial advice, but I think it's pretty safe to say, it's not bad advice to say, if you're up 400% and there's no reason why you're up 400%, take profits. And perhaps you could get back in at a better price at a later time. That's what I did with Bright Minds. I sold up 400%, and it inevitably fell down. I think it's at like 40 cents now. I bought back in at $1. I did actually sell out of my position with Bright Minds, just because I saw other companies I liked that were trading at a cheap valuation. It wasn't because I didn't like Bright Minds. It had nothing to do with that. I think they're a great company, but sometimes other things are cheaper, and I see that opportunity. Sorry to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but I think this is important stuff to talk about. So with all that being said, ATAI Life Sciences, they have a lot of cash, which is good, guys. They are behind on their DMT program. There's no other way around it. They're behind on with Demrex. There's no other way around it. It's not all gloomy news though. It's good to see that their non-psychedelic compounds with a lot of promise are making their ways through trial. A phase 2B with this RL-007 compound it's good progress. It is good progress. I am, as an investor, I was hoping that RL-07 would be, you rely on it as a moonshot. I'm very upset that the progress with cures and PCN 101 hasn't gone the way they planned. But ATAI certainly has a chance in the next year and a half to 2 years to gain back investor confidence, and I'm still holding. But with that being said, that is the brief rundown of the earnings report. Thank you guys for tuning in to Psyched Insights. Again, if you liked the video, like if you enjoyed the video, leave a like. Um, it helps us get our videos out to more people. Subscribe and follow us at Psyched Insights on Twitter. Thank you guys very much and have a great day.